Next story I wanted to talk about is a somber one. Somebody named Kirsten Weldon, one of the more famous QAnon YouTubers, basically, has died of COVID. I understand the arguments in favor of this kind of thing. I get some people believe that, one fewer conspiracy theorist is a good thing and all that other stuff, but that's just not the position that I hold. I get that this person contributed to a lot of pain and suffering as a QAnon YouTuber. I get that, but in my opinion, human life comes before all else, and I can't, in good conscience, revel in pain and suffering of anybody. I get the argument that people provide to me, Rush Limbaugh caused a lot of pain and suffering, and he laughed about it when people were suffering from the AIDS crisis. I get that, I get it, but it doesn't make it any more desirable to me to know that he died or that anybody died. I just don't want anybody to die. I feel that human life is the most valuable thing in the universe, and I want to live in a world where nobody dies. As little pain and suffering and death as humanly possible. That's my goal. Unfortunately, this person, she didn't make it, but she did contribute a lot of pain and suffering to society in her own way by being this COVID skeptic, I guess you could say, by being this QAnon wingnut. She contributed a lot of pain and suffering to the world, and she paid for it. She paid the ultimate price. So I wanted to look back on her life and see what she had to contribute to society when she was alive. This is an early May 2020 appearance she made on the Steel Truth show with Ann Vandersteel. Give this a listen, see what she had to say.
I want to just get something clear about your source that's providing this information. This is a source you've used for how long?
On and off for like the whole time I've been on, maybe like 2.5 years, 3 years.
Okay. And how often have they been wrong in giving you information?
0 times.
Wow.
0. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
0.
Let's hope today is not the day they decide to be wrong and throw you for a loop. But
well, they even predicted the Ruth Bader Ginsburg was dead January 2019, I'm sorry. And
January 2019, that's when her supposed source claimed that Ruth Bader Ginsburg actually died. Well, when did Ruth Bader Ginsburg actually die? She died September 18th, 2020. Okay, so this woman, Kirsten Weldon, is claiming that her source, who's never been wrong, told her that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died July 2019, over a year before she actually did. It gets crazier. Keep listening.
January 2019, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, January 2019. So actually a year and a half, almost 2 years before she actually did.
They exhumed her body and destroyed it, so there's no proof of that. Then they had 2 doubles for her, and one was very tall, so she could keep seated the whole time.
Okay, so she's claiming that Ruth Bader Ginsburg basically had a body double or a clone or whatever, and she died in 2019, and instead of revealing that she died in 2019, they just kept pushing it off. How does she come to these conclusions? Why does she even buy any of this? With no evidence whatsoever. She ate it up, hook, line, and sinker. This is completely made up from the ether. There is no basis for what she's saying right here, but she believed it anyways. Is she the one making this stuff up, or is somebody telling her this stuff? I have to wonder.
And then one ran off, so they have none left.
One was so tall they had to sit 24/7, and the other ran off. Where did she come up with this shit?
That would be Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of course, protected by the very corrupt Justice Roberts, who got $3 trillion of our funds.
Mm-hmm.
$3 trillion? John Roberts got $3 trillion of our funds. I guess taxpayer money is what she's talking about. Yeah, come to think of it, how did they hide that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had been dead for 2 years, from the Supreme Court justices, from the staff members at the Supreme Court, from the lawyers that like bring cases in front of them. How did they hide it from all of those people? This is so far out there, I can't see her from where she's standing. Seriously, this is some bizarre shit. And again, $3 trillion? He was given $3 trillion. I feel like she doesn't fully understand how much money that is. In fact, I'm sure of it.
When Tower 7 went down, and he gave the remainder of the 10 trillion to the Bushes and the Clintons.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's a total of about $1.5 trillion in U.S. physical currency in circulation. $1.5 trillion total. The total amount of cash that is in circulation in the United States is 1.5 trillion. And she's sitting here telling us that John Roberts, Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, got 3 trillion and then another 10 trillion went to the Bushes. That is so beyond bizarre. I honestly don't know where to start. But that's not actually the first time we've heard a claim like that. Actually, our old buddy Lynn Wood made a claim like that not too long ago.
9/11, you want to talk about that? Let's talk about CGI. You know what that is? Computer graphics generated images. You know what CGI is? You know what deep fake videos are? The estimate was there was $3.5 trillion. That was the estimate. That had been stolen from the defense budget. They were going to have hearings starting on November the 12th to discuss that money that had been stolen and was missing. That was your money, by the way. And then all of a sudden, on 9/11, what appeared to be a plane hit one building, what appeared to be a plane hit another building. Then later that night, another building fell down that wasn't hit by a deadgum thing. It was the building that went down, Building 7, that had all the paperwork in it with respect to the missing money.
Lynn Wood was the lawyer for Kyle Rittenhouse originally. He was also a Trump lawyer originally, and he's a full-blown QAnon conspiracy theorist. But that's where this comes from. This is a QAnon claim. Like I said, this woman is a big QAnon influencer on YouTube before it got shut down, and of course before she died, sadly. Like I said, I don't want anybody to die. Human life is precious, no matter what. Let's watch the next one. This one's mid-July 2020.
Okay, so 15th, 16th, and 17th from my military intel, he's going to be triangulated by 3 FBI agents. And on these 3 dates, 15th, 16th, and 17th, one of these days, they're going to try to take him out. This is what, the 55th attempt?
Of course, she's talking about Donald Trump. She's claiming that there have been a total of 55 attempts on Donald Trump's life. Like I said, this clip came out mid-July 2020. So by mid-July 2020, this woman believed that there had been 55 attempts on Donald Trump's life. And there was about to be another one. And she had military intel to key her into this, to let her know that something was about to go down. Because the one thing that military intel agents do is tell this information to people who are viewed as conspiracy theorists on YouTube. That's like the first thing they do. The moment they hear about this stuff, they go straight to the YouTube conspiracy theorists and spread it around. Makes perfect sense.
It's 15th, 16th, and 17th. One of these days, they're going to try to take him out. This is what, the 55th attempt? And they have taken out 2 of his clones.
Wait, Donald Trump had clones? This is news to me. How are they okay with that? They're always talking about doubles and clones of, like, the deep state operatives, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But here we are talking about Donald Trump's clones.
2 of his clones. So just FYI, yes, there's clones out there that are his. So he would not have survived without the clones. So FYI.
Can we get footage of like one of the clones being hurt in his place then? She's telling us that he wouldn't have survived without the clones. that it at least implies that the clones have been hurt in the line of duty. Maybe even worse, right? Is there proof? Any proof at all? Anything? I mean, I'll take anything, I promise. Just give it to me, and I'll examine it. Of course there's no proof of this. She's just seemingly making things up. Absolutely nothing to back up what she's saying. She's just saying it.
And we can really tell the difference between the clones by the tie. Sometimes the yellow tie, the red tie, and the blue tie Trump. The blue tie Trump is a happy clone that's very good at golf. The yellow tie Trump is not, that smart. And the real Trump usually is the red tie Trump.
Oh, I love it. They even came up with an explanation for why he is sometimes dumb as dog shit. I love it. I love it. Here's your explanation. You ever wonder how they justify Trump being so ridiculous and some of the things that he says? God, I'm trying so hard not to insult the guy. I don't believe in insults. I try desperately not to insult people. I will criticize. I will not insult. Here's their explanation for why Trump has questionable levels of faculty sometimes. There you go. It's a clone, and it's one of the less intelligent clones. That makes perfect sense. Thank you so much for clarifying that for me, Kirsten Weldon. Here's another clip, early April 2021. So this one is about as recent as we're going to get. In this clip, she was talking to a Francine Fosdick. That's this woman right here, Francine Fosdick. She's famously a Q supporter, massively big Q supporter. She's in with this whole crowd, Mark Taylor and a bunch of other people. So here's Kirsten Weldon talking to Francine Fosdick about what's going on with China right now. If you remember, early April 2021 was around the time that the big Texas freeze was taking place. Check it out.
So they had that freeze out, and they did it with the weather warfare. That would be, the bunker fuel in the ocean and the pulling down the polar vortex, right? With the chemtrails. So they pulled it down and they hit all of Texas. As you know, it had a huge freeze. So
let me fill in the gaps because there were a lot of words in there. Polar vortex. What were some of the other words? Weather warfare.
With the chemtrails. So
chemtrails was in there too. Yeah, she's talking about China. She seems to believe that China has weather modification devices, basically like a weather gun where you aim the weather gun at a location and then you pull the weather gun trigger and then everything freezes. Basically is kind of what it seems like to me. So she is under the impression that Texas had that big freeze not because of climate change or not just because of a polar vortex, which is actually what caused it, but because China has weather guns, weather modification that they're using and testing against the United States. That is her belief.
All of Texas, as you know, it had a huge freeze. So yeah, that's what happened. And they usually do it from the Arecibo Observatory when they do their hurricanes and stuff, to pull the hurricane stuff through that Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. But this time the Arecibo Observatory was down. So they did it through the Ecuadorian HARP facility. It was traced to there. If you watch my videos, you would see the video. It traced all the way back to the Ecuadorian HARP facility, and that was China testing out their new weapons, weather weapons. And of course, Biden was paid billions of dollars before and got more money for letting them do that to the United States.
Needless to say, her beliefs are way, way out there. Her beliefs were way, way out there. So I wanted to read this article on the Daily Beast about Kirsten Weldon. The title is QAnon star who said only idiots get vax dies of COVID. Trust the plan. This is written by Will Sommer. Updated January 7th, 2022, 8:31 p.m. Let's give it a read. A leading QAnon promoter who urged both her followers and strangers she passed on the street not to take the COVID vaccine died Thursday of the coronavirus, making her just the latest vaccine opponent killed by the disease. Kirsten Weldon had amassed tens of thousands of followers across right-wing social media networks by promoting the pro-Trump QAnon conspiracy under the screen name Kirsten W. She was prominent enough to become a sort of QAnon interpreter for comedian conspiracy theorist Roseanne Barr and started recording videos about QAnon with her. Weldon focused on attacking vaccines and other efforts to fight COVID-19, saying in one video that Dr. Anthony Fauci needs to be... She claimed the vaccine killed people and even recorded herself yelling at people standing in line to receive vaccines. The vaccines kill, don't get it. Weldon warned the waiting vaccine recipients in an undated video posted to one of her online accounts. This is how gullible these idiots are. They're all getting the vaccine. In late December, however, Weldon started showing symptoms of coronavirus infection. In her last video, posted December 28th, Weldon struggled through her remarks about the coming overthrow of the U.S. government, coughing and complaining that she was exhausted. 3 days later, Weldon was hospitalized in Camarillo, California. She posted a picture of herself wearing an oxygen mask to Instagram and claimed she had bacterial pneumonia. Weldon wrote in a post on the social media network Telegram that she refused to take coronavirus treatment remdesivir, calling it Dr. Fauci's resmetiravir. That's what she called it, Dr. Fauci's resmetiravir. Weldon's death from COVID is just the latest instance of a far-right personality who opposed vaccination being killed by the virus. On January 3rd, radio host Doug Kuzma died while infected with the coronavirus. In August, QAnon promoter Robert David Steele died of the virus shortly after posting a picture of himself in an oxygen mask and vowing to still refuse the vaccine. I do not revel in people's deaths. I do not want people to die. I don't want this to happen. I would prefer that they survive. But I feel that we can take this as a lesson. We can learn something from their situation. We can learn that vaccination saves lives. You know what happened to me recently? Kylie tests positive for the virus 2 weeks ago or something, 10 days ago actually, to this day. She comes home, she starts isolating, and it's a deeply red line too on the test. It was bright red. She was very infectious. Myself and my wife, Rose, quarantined with her because we assumed that we were going to catch it too. All three of us were vaccinated, double vaccinated, hadn't gotten our boosters yet. We had scheduled the appointment to get it and hadn't gotten it yet. So Kylie tests positive. Rose and I never tested positive, not once, the entire time that we were isolating with Kylie. Kylie's got a cough and a runny nose and a headache and all the symptoms. She's coughing all over the place, and this shit is Omicron, so it's more infectious than others. The entire time we're inside with Kylie coughing all over the place, we never tested positive because of the vaccine. If you want to survive this, your best bet right now is getting vaccinated. Your best bet's getting vaccinated. If you don't want to end up like Kirsten Weldon, please get vaccinated. Let's keep reading the article. In September, a QAnon follower named Veronica Wolski became a cause celebre in QAnon circles after she was hospitalized with the coronavirus. QAnon fans besieged the hospital with phone calls demanding that Wolski receive ivermectin, the deworming drug used by some as an unproven coronavirus treatment. Wolski died of the disease later that month. In the face of these deaths, their surviving friends and supporters have started to allege that the dead QAnon figures are being murdered, either because they were refused internet folk remedies like ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, or because they were killed by the deep state to cover up their conspiracy theories. In December, Kuzma and a number of other conspiracy theorists were sickened with COVID-like symptoms after appearing together at a conference. Rather than acknowledge that they had COVID, the far-right influencers suggested they had been targeted by an anthrax attack. I remember that. I covered it at the time. Completely out of touch with reality. Completely out of touch with reality. Please get vaccinated. I am begging you, if you haven't been vaccinated yet, please get vaccinated, because this is the only thing you have to look forward to if you don't. This. We have a list of names the size of Texas of people who have died from this because they refuse to get vaccinated. Please save yourself and the people in your life by just getting it done. Just get vaccinated. According to the CDC, at this moment, last I read, Omicron is likely going to reach pretty much everybody in the US. At some point, it will find you. It is extremely infectious. This is your last opportunity. Get vaccinated, please. Every life is valuable, inherently. Just get vaccinated.